What does the Army mean to me? I don't know. It's like a stage of my life. It was kind of like, I don't know, like how some people look back, high school, that was a great time for them. Army was a time of my life.
I think one of the reasons why I got out in the first place was just to know that if I wake up somewhere, I know a year from now I'll be waking up in the same place unless I make the decision to be somewhere else, as opposed to like the military life, you kind of don't know where you're going to be in 2 to 3 months from now because you're always somewhere training or deploying or something like that.
It was a big eye-opener. It was appreciate life, and at that moment I was like, I'm about to be back into my life because I put it on pause for a year to deploy.
The gunfire, you'll never experience that. Most people will never experience it, but I don't know, it's just like, I had a grenade explode next to me, so I mean, that's kind of like affected me. I get disability from the military and stuff like that, but it's just, I mean, it's like, I have friends that are police officers, and I mean, they'll never see that in their career.
My unit went out. We were a 30-man team. We went out to build a COP, which is a small outpost camp. And we had to set up trucks in pretty much a big circle and pull guard to make sure we weren't going to get ambushed or attacked. But we did. And I received orders from my superior officer to open fire. And the worst feeling of my life is to have to pull the trigger on another human being that has a family and has their own beliefs and has their own lifestyle.
Most people over there are really nice people. They're good, hardworking people. I mean, I don't hold grudges against that nationality of people or nothing like that. It's just, the way I think of it is like there's like more like a gang. They're like gangs, and they just kind of like don't like us. So, and then they try to teach their kids. It's just like you would think of like something like Compton or something. They're gangs. They fight each other, but they also fight us. I like the kids. I mean, I always used to play with the kids and stuff like that. I mean, whenever we could, but they always want everything. They want your gloves. They want your iPod. I had a little boy try to give me his little brother for my iPod. You take him. No, I don't want your brother. It's good.
I got rocketed once. I mean, it was probably like 2 football fields away, but me and my buddy were sitting out on guard duty, and all of a sudden we hear a go overhead, and we both just hit the ground, covered our heads, and waited for the explosion.
I was a gunner in a Humvee, and I carried a shotgun in my turret with me. We loaded non-lethal rounds in our shotguns at first. It was the first round. So when we chambered around, it was always gonna be non-lethal. And then after that, it's all lethal. We were driving, and I seen a suspicious character. He always looked for running sneakers and anything that would take him off, and any alleys that we passed. With our movements, the way we maneuvered, it was always to like get around alleys and any kind of like dead space, so you can't see anything. So he wound up and threw one of the grenades. There was a couple of them. There's a group of them. He threw the grenade. It hit the back right at the back of Humvee, and at the same time when it exploded, I discharged my weapon and I shot him. And the other dudes took off, and my driver at the time did like an exceptional job, his training, and he continued to move. But as he was continuing to move, I couldn't discharge another round to shoot any of the other guys. But yeah, he got shot by the non-lethal round and continued running. He got shot in the face and was continuing running. And the Iraqi army ended up finding him and picked him up because he had a big mark on his face.
Probably the fight for Solder City. My group was actually like the first ones in there. We were supposed to meet, and we were supposed to meet an Iraqi like police force there, and it was like middle of the day, and all of a sudden they never met us there, so we were just kind of hanging out waiting for them, and then everybody like in the city just kind of like disappeared all of a sudden. Like you didn't see it all at one time. You caught it after a while, like wow, like there's nobody in the streets anymore. and then and that's when we started seeing the fires on top of the roofs and stuff lighting, and that's when we got into a firefight that lasted. I think we were there for like 2 days, and then you know, eventually we had forces in come and stuff like that, and then we were allowed to retreat for a while. And and I remember, instead of spending the night back at our place, we just reamped with like ammo and stuff like that. We went right back out. So.
I have problems with like anxiety and like big crowds, but I mean, I just fight through it. It's nothing serious, I don't think. I get occasional migraines that I get medicine for. I've been to the VA. I get 30% disability for my back, my hearing, and mild TBI, which is TBI and PTSD go hand. They overlap each other, so they don't the symptoms. But TBI is a traumatic brain injury from like explosions and IEDs, or like a serious event that happened in your life can do something like that.
I'm not service connected, like anything documented and things through like the VA and stuff like that. I know they encourage me to go all the time, but I don't know if it's just a combination of me being too proud to go, or I don't know. I also hear stories of like people who really didn't do anything over there coming back with all these problems that had to have manifested themselves, but I can't really speak on the behalf of other people.
I pulled a gun out of a guy's mouth. He was about to shoot himself, and he did it because he missed his family. But that's just, it doesn't make sense. You're not going to see your family again if you got a bullet in your head and your brains are all over the ceiling.
It kind of helped me realize that how important friends and family are, because it wasn't easy being over there. I mean, I'm not saying I had it hard at all, but it definitely wasn't being easy to be away from family. So I mean, I always had the friends I could talk to, and if something was bugging me about work, I always had my family I could talk to. It kind of let me know how important things were. So
You're a little emotionally detached after all that, so you come home and you just think like it's no big deal. I think it's a bigger deal for everybody else than it was for me. So
put on your gear, put on your uniform, and you go to work. I pounded hammers. We built buildings all the time, and I never thought it was the day I was going to get blown up. When I was getting ready to go to evening chow, dinner chow, me and my 3 friends that we were always like brothers. We always went to chow together. We're walking, and an RPG, it makes a distinct sound. It's like a high whistle, and it came right for us, and I got hit.
Get down! Get down! Motherfucker!
And unfortunately had to get medevaced out, and my friends were stuck without me, so that was pretty big too. I got a piece of shrapnel in my right arm and in my body armor, and one little piece of my ankle, and when they pulled it out, it was actually a lot bigger than I thought it would be. So
I don't really sweat the small stuff like anymore. Like I don't get mad that easily, because I saw that there's so many worse things out there. So like it's pointless to get like mad over the little things.
My platoon, we didn't lose anyone. Another platoon got hit with the same thing that got thrown at me. The one kid lost his leg. I knew him a little bit. I didn't really know him that much. But when we got back, we got to see him. Happiest kid in the world. I mean, I don't think I could do that. You know what I mean? If I would have lost a limb, I would have been devastated. But he was happy. He came and talked to everyone. It's good to see him.
I had a schedule for when I was in the States, and then I went over there and I had the schedule there, and it was just kind of like the schedule in the States was my life. I was just kind of like on break from it, while I was over there, so it was just nice to get back to what I knew, what I was comfortable with. So I'm a little bit more vigilant, just kind of like checking people out without even like looking at them, just like kind of knowing what's going on around me, but that's about it.
Being in a car for the first time, I actually had a panic attack. I had so much anxiety, I couldn't even deal with it. I had to have the car pulled over because I was just so overwhelmed. It was like going from one lifestyle to a complete opposite in one foul swoop. I was scanning the road for IEDs. I was making sure that people on the sidewalk weren't going to pull out a gun. It seems silly, but it's how it is. Ask anyone. I didn't really feel that safety right away. Even though I knew I was home, it was like I had to still be vigilant and watch out, and so I didn't feel safe even though I was in a safe place. But I think it came naturally because for that long I had to do that. And when you have to do something for so long and then just not do it anymore, you're still going to do it anyways because it's habit, because it's your lifestyle.
I can't speak on behalf of everybody, but I don't think it really affected mine too much other than, I don't know, I just missed out on 2 years of being here. So
When I came home and leave, there's a lot of like more stuff that made me nervous. Like I was at my girlfriend's house at the time, and I was sleeping, and she turned the vacuum on, and I like jumped up, like startled. She just looked at me. She stopped. She's like, "Sorry." I was like, "My bad."
Oh, I remember all of this stuff that happened, and then I wake up, usually poured in sweat. Well, they told me that I was possibly diagnosed with PTSD because of the fact that I've been through several traumatic experiences, and that if I didn't talk to somebody, that it could escalate and get worse, and not only show itself in my mental state, but in my physical state. It does not go away. It does not just decide that it doesn't want to affect me that day. But I've learned to keep it to myself.
Brothers